Magna will without a doubt catch up with luck, and we will explain why, how and when. What have Magna and Zora been up to in the past 6 months while traveling? Will Magna be able to use the Heart Kingdom runes to develop his own magic method? Black Clover, here on Unami. Magna was introduced to us as someone who can keep up with luck. The fact that luck became extremely strong later in this show, maybe even able to keep up with Noelle, Asta and Yuno, makes the rivalry between him and Magna unbelievable. Obviously, rivals should be able to compete with one another. There's no rivalry when one of them gains insane power, but the other is unable to perform simple magic techniques. Something should have happened to Magna in the last 6 months in order for him to keep up with luck, who learned the mana method and even the ultimate magic. More on that in a moment. It was very difficult for Magna. He had experienced arc for arc, how luck moves further and further away from him and gets stronger with each passing day. Well, he literally already seems to have reached his limits in mana potential. Magna himself admitted that his fighting style comes from the development of spells, which is characterized by technique and training. Because as a peasant he does not have the large mana pool of nobles and royals. A large mana pool allows the user to put a lot of mana into single attacks to make the attack even stronger. This was confirmed by the Dryad in the last chapter. A large mana pool also allows one to use many spells with high mana without getting tired. That Magna has a very small mana capacity has already been confirmed when, for example, the magic power system of various social classes was explained. However, this is not 100% correct because people like Luck Voltea, who are commoners but still have an extreme high amount of mana, do not fit into the system. If you would like us to publish a video about Luck, explaining why he is as strong as a royal, then smash the like button, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell so that you always know when we are uploading a new video. Back to the topic. In the first introduction arc of Black Clover, when Magna, Asta and Noelle were going to Magna's hometown, they met the Eye of the Midnight Sun members. Magna used just a few attacks that were already enough for him to literally pass out. If a magic knight faints due to using magic, it is a sign that they have no more mana available. Yuki Tabata confirmed that humans have an initial mana capacity from birth that cannot change. There are a few different ways how someone with less mana can still use a lot of mana, but we will talk about this in a moment. However, Magna does not seem to have been able to access all of his mana. It almost seems like some of his mana is hidden inside his body. It is clear that as the story progressed, Magna was able to keep up with his opponents while using even stronger and more spells. From the first fight when he literally passed out after a couple of attacks, to the royal exams where Magna literally spammed his attacks without even showing that it made him tired. Kirsch was even surprised to learn that Magna is a peasant. Usually royals are very mana sensitive enough to know if someone is a peasant just based only on sensing how much mana people have. The fact that Kirsch couldn't even tell that Magna was a peasant shows that Magna may have hidden mana potential. And Luck immediately felt like Magna is a lot more than it seems. That Magna is not untalented at using magic is obvious, as he has a wide range of different type of spells. He can use normal fire magic, he can use creation magic to create objects out of fire, and he can use restraining magic, even reinforcement magic to improve his physical ability. In the anime he could even use mana skin, a rather very difficult technique that requires very good mana control. He can also use union magic, which allows two users to combine their magic to cast a spell together. He is extremely talented and smart at developing various techniques while manipulating the mana as it helps him. For example, when he was able to make his fireballs disappear and then immediately reappear. So what is it that prevents Magna from getting stronger?
After all the improvements Magna has been going through, it is still clear that he still has less mana than others. This is a major disadvantage for him to catch up with his rival luck. Therefore, it was necessary for him to learn the Heart Kingdom's mana method so that he could use natural mana. Because with the mana method, mana potential no longer matters, since the user of the mana method has a far greater mana capacity available than any other royal who cannot use natural mana. Asta brings Magna and Luck with him to train with Gaja in the Heart Kingdom, but Magna is unable to form the ruins necessary for the mana method of the Heart Kingdom. Once again, the lack of mana prevents Magna from learning the mana method, which is the only method so far that would help him gain more mana and thus compensate for his great disadvantage to Luck. We found out that Magna is level 5, and to use the mana method in combat, one has to be at least level 3. Magna gets frustrated and storms out of the palace. From that moment on, we didn't hear from Magna again. He disappeared from the screen for 6 months and traveled to different places together with Zora. Perhaps there was a reason why Yuki Tabata showed Magna the ruins of the Heart Kingdom before he went off to trading and traveling. At least Magna knows how the ruins work, and this gives him the opportunity to still somehow master this technique. While he never learned how the ruins are used to create arrays and thus use the mana method, Magna could possibly use the ruins in some different, unique way and invent his own technique. Zora knew from the beginning that he had to figure out how to get stronger on his own, as he is a peasant and therefore has a great lack of mana. Thus, training in the Heart Kingdom is just useless for him. His whole fighting style is based on the lack of mana, so that despite of having ash magic, he uses more trap magic. In this way, he was able to fight and defeat royals and nobles, and even block Meryliona's attack with no problem, or even fight against a group of elves. Zora found a way to fight efficiently without using a lot of mana. It is no coincidence that Magna fought Zora at the Royal Knight exam. Zora was able to show Magna how strong a peasant with such a great lack of mana can become, and how a peasant can even win against nobles and royals. Trap magic is just like transformation magic, not actually a specific magic affinity, but rather something that any magic knight could do if they learn to do so, comparable to creation magic. So, we see the possibility that Magna will learn trap magic from Zora. However, this will still not be enough to fill the lack of mana that gives Magna such a huge disadvantage over Luck. We know that Magna and Zora not only train together, they literally travel to different places all the time. And what did we learn about different places? Different places have different people with different methods. Dungeons have various magical tools such as magic stones, ruins, wands, spells, and much more that can help the magic knight increase their magic and mana. There are different types of magic to learn and different types of training. The fact that Magna and Zora are traveling together is an indication that they will find a way to increase their mana and magic. And we believe that there was a reason Magna first saw the ruins of the Heart Kingdom before going to the trip with Zora. Both Zora and Magna must find a way to increase their own mana, and then Magna can try to use the ruins of the Heart Kingdom to perhaps learn the mana method or invent his own unique ruins technique. So that's it for today, boys. Hope you guys enjoyed our video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a comment down and don't forget to smash the like button. And if you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell turned on. Have a good day. Yami out. See you in the next video.
I have many more new cool theories in mind, and I will publish them all very soon. If you like our content, please feel free to subscribe to our channel. We try our best to catch up on other shows too, so that we are not just a YouTube channel for Black Clover theories. Support us on this journey, like this video and comment on what you think of this review, and share this video with your friends. And most importantly, turn on the notification bell. This is the best way to support us, as you can watch all of our videos. Thank you for watching. I wish you a wonderful morning, day or night, wherever you live, and see you next time. Bye.